evening again to everyone here. I welcome you all to this wonderful webinar. So today we are going to revisit the questions that our early investors asked us before making their first successful investment. So in this webinar, we will be covering the questions that are related to product, platform, investment, and then opportunities and companies. So my colleague Harman here will be taking you through the product related questions, risk and returns related questions, and I'll be taking you through the company and investment related questions. So Harman, if you could take over the session and if you could start with the product related questions.
Sure. Thank you, Sidhu. Thank you, everybody, for joining today's session. My name is Harman Singh. I'm at the Investor Relations team, and I'm going to help you understand exactly what this revenue-based movie financing, how this investment works in actual. So let's go into the explanation of the same. Can we move to the next slide? The next slide, please. Right. So revenue-based movie financing. I'm sure most or majority of investors who have joined today for this webinar, the first question comes, investments in movies. So are we investing in movies? I think that's the first question I myself asked when I first got to know about BetterInvest. And revenue-based movie financing. So how is this going to work? Let me explain this to you in very simple layman's term, exactly how this product will work. And most of the investors who have already participated in different investment assets would be able to relate to this particular asset of investment as well. So when we go into, before we go into what exactly is a revenue-based movie financing, let us try to understand how a movie producer in the industry makes actually money by making this particular movie. So a movie producer would be selling the movie rights. As we know, as on today's date, a lot of movies are being sold to OTT platforms. Also, these movies, audio rights, the music rights are also sold to audio label companies like Tips, T-Series, Saregama, and so on. Apart from that, also the movie producers sell the rights to these particular movies to satellite channels, which is going to be Star Network or Z Network or networks depending on that particular state. Also, they have the theater distribution. So these are the different scopes through which a movie producer will actually make money off the entire movie. So when it's theater distribution, it is generally audience, they go, they watch, they buy the tickets, and that's what the collection happens for the movie producer, which is directly connected to the performance. Now, what happens is when these rights are sold to OTT platforms or the rights of the songs are sold to an audio label company, producers, they sign up the agreement, they come into an agreement for a fixed value. What happens is these producers only receive a fractional advance, which could range between 10, 20, 30%. That's the normal industry norms. The balance payment, which the producer is supposed to receive, will be repaid by these buyers like OTT companies or audio label companies or satellite networks after a certain period of time. So this period of time could be ranging between anywhere between 1 month to 12 months. This is the industry practice. So what happens is the product, the movie rights is already sold to a buyer, but the producer has to wait, and there is a gap in the cash flow which is created for the movie producer. Now, as any businessman, also the producer would definitely like to have better cash flows, maybe to start off a new project. Instead of, rather than waiting and getting those funds after 3 months or 5 months or 12 months, they are better off to receive those funds at the present date itself when they sign and sell off this particular rights. But as per the contract, they do not receive the entire value. This is where BetterInvest comes in the picture, where we help these producers for this particular cash flow. Rather than waiting and getting these funds, the balance funds after a certain point of time, through us or through the investors, they would be able to get a major portion of that funds at the present date itself. So let me give this to you in numbers to more simplify the process. Say example, there is a producer and the producer has sold XYZ movie. The movie is already completed shooting and they have sold the rights to say Netflix for a value of 1 crore rupees. Let's consider this sale agreement to be an outright purchase contract, which means as per this contract, Netflix and the producer come into the agreement that a fixed value of 1 crore rupees is to be paid for this movie, irrespective of the performance of the movie on the OTT platform. Say today, the 14th March, when they sell this agreement, the producer is receiving for this 1 crore deal value, they receive 10 lakh rupees as the advance, and the balance 90 lakh rupees, the buyer, which is Netflix in this example, says that they will make a payment, say 6 months from now. So there's a waiting period of 6 months for the movie producer. Now, the movie producer will reach out to BetterInvest stating that they have an outright purchase sale that they have done with Netflix. They have a cash flow of 90 lakh rupees coming in the future, and they're looking for funds against that particular contract. So BetterInvest, what we would do is we'll check for those contracts if it is an outright purchase and say we will inform the producer that against this 90 lakh rupees, we are ready to give you, say, 70 lakh rupees. With a condition that this money is going to be with the producer for the next 6 months. So we are going to charge, say, 10% as the interest or the profit portion. So we give this 70 lakh rupees to producer on day one. After doing the due diligence, curating the opportunity, we give 70 lakh with the condition of 10% as interest. After 6 months of time, when the funds is coming from Netflix, which is the buyer, which is going to be a total value of 90 lakh rupees. We receive that, BetterInvest receives this through a direct collection letter. I'll repeat that, it's called a direct collection letter, which I will talk about the same letter in the next slides. So through this letter, we get the funds directly to an escrow account. Once we receive this 90 lakh rupees, we disperse to the investors who have invested this 70 lakh rupees on day one, which is 14th of March, to the producer. So say total you had invested 70 lakh rupees. 10% is the interest. So we take from that 90, we take 77 and transfer it back to you. Then we take our fees, whatever applicable, say example 3 lakh rupees. The balance 10 lakh rupees at that point of time, we transfer it back to the production house. So by going into this investment, it's a win-win situation for the production house as well, as they are getting instant cash flow, and also to the investors. Through the short-term investments, they are able to make some returns. And at BetterInvest platform, we are almost offering most of the deals with 18% returns per annum. So this is the structure, exactly how the product works. Can we move to the next slide, please? So let's answer what are the risk-related questions mostly that we get to hear as investor relations managers. So what if the movie fails at the box office? Do I lose all my money? Now, as I had spoken to you earlier about the performance of the movie, which is an outright purchase model, which means the performance of the movie has got no relation to the funds coming from the buyer. So even if the movie is not performing well, whatever the fixed interest has been offered on the platform or the repayment that the buyer is supposed to make to the producer will be fixed. So to answer to that, as I mentioned to you, this is happening through outright sale contracts, and only those contracts will be discounted by BetterInvest. Can we move to the next slide, please? So what if the producer does not repay the money? How can I recover it? That is also one of the most frequently asked questions, I believe, with regard to the risks related to the investments. Now, BetterInvest receives a direct collection letter, which I had mentioned earlier, from the rights buyer, agreeing to pay the remaining amount directly to investors through an escrow. So BetterInvest will have an escrow account with the production house, and with that account number, we will get a letter from the buyer stating that the balance payment for that particular contract is going to be made only to this particular escrow account. So that means when the money is going to come, we are going to have direct access to the funds, where BetterInvest has the operational rights of this particular escrow. Only we have the rights to move the money. So first we'll move to the investors, and then we will take our charges, and then balance we will only transfer to the production house. So this all happens to the direct collection letter, which we collect before we are listing any opportunity and start the investments. Can we move to the next slide? What if the OTT does not give the money? How do I get my money back? So BetterInvest curates movies that are sold to leading OTTs with zero default history. So on the platform, which you find most of deals, you will be able to see who the counterparty is, who has bought the rights, the music or the audio rights or the movie rights or the satellite rights. You will be able to see, and these are all major players with zero default history. In case of default that is happening from the OTT, BetterInvest will take necessary steps and actions to recover the funds from the production house based on the bill discounting agreement that the investors also will be signing before they participate into any deal at all. Can we move to the next slide, please? So will I lose interest if the movie is delayed? So movie delay can happen in the Indian movie industry. If we watch movies, we'll get to know that we see that maybe a particular movie was scheduled for release on a particular date or during a particular season, but then there is a competition movie or something else happened, and they were not able to get the theater dates. So in case of that, a delay could happen, but the investors would continue to get the interest for the delayed period also. So even if it is a day delayed, on pro rata basis, the interest is calculated and paid out to the investors. What is the nature of returns? So 18% interest per annum, these I wouldn't say almost, all the deals that we have listed on the platform is with 18% fixed interest rate. So this is a high yielding, the returns are fixed. This is not linked to the market at all, neither to the performance of the movie. And the tenure itself is short because that's the industry practice. Minimum is being a month and maximum it goes up to 12 months. And why is there a range? If you see the opportunity, if you happen to see the existing deal, the movie opportunity, which is live on the platform, you will be able to see that there is a tenure range. For example, we have listed 4 to 6 months or 1 to 5 months. There is a range in that. So the tenure totally depends upon the stage of the movie when it is sold and the movie's release date. So example, say Netflix has bought the movie today. The movie is supposed to release by 31st of March 2023. And Netflix says once you release the movie in theaters, 1 month after that, 30 days after, we'll make a payment. So this is going to depend on the release date. Say example, the release has happened delayed than what we expected. Instead of 31st March, movie got released on 31st of April. So in that case, as per the contract between the buyer and the seller, Netflix is now going to make a payment 1 month later. So we consider the minimum term and also the maximum that it can get delayed up to. That's the reason why for every deal, you will be able to see there is a range for the investment. Tenure is always a range. So next we will go into about the organization. I think Sedu can talk on this. Sedu, over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So to talk about our founding team, so we have a decade of experience in this industry. So prior to BetterInvest, we were in the OTT business where we launched our OTT platform called Hero Talkies, where we distributed South Indian movies in the overseas market. So being in this industry, we understand this space very well. We understand the problems and opportunities in this space very well. So to talk about our funding part, we are a well-funded company backed by a group of investors from various backgrounds, including the movie industry. To tell about our lead investor, Mr. Suresh Krishna. So he is president of CREDAI, Tamil Nadu chapter. So this is a basic overview about the founding team. We can look into the other investments and other details in the later slides. Next slide, please. So what is the track record of BetterInvest platform? So this particular slide sums up the track record and traction of our platform so far. As you can see, we have 30,000 plus registered users across the country, and we have investors investing through the country from various states. So to highlight a point here, 40% of our investor base have invested in more than one opportunity, and the average ticket size of our investment is 2.7 lakh, where our minimum ticket size is 1 lakh. Next slide, please. So how strong is the asset onboarding process in BetterInvest? So we have a 5-level evaluation framework in place, starting from onboarding till we collect the security documents. We have a thorough due diligence at each step. So to start with onboarding process, we onboard only movies that have been sold to the rights buyer. The rights buyer can be an OTT, rights buyer can be an satellite or audio rights. So without any underlying contract in place, we won't onboard any production house or movie to our platform. So now once we have an underlying contract in place, we start our evaluation process. Coming to the evaluation process, so we categorize movies into two. Typically, the small and mid-size movies comes in a one bucket, and the big star movies comes in next bucket. So when it comes to a small and mid-size movies, these OTTs purchase these movies only if the movie is completed. They watch the movie and then do the purchase of the movie. When it comes to a star movie, these OTTs go behind this production house and they buy the movie even before the shooting gets commenced. So with respect to the onboarding process, we onboard the small and mid-size movies only if the movie is completed and ready for theatrical release and censor has been done. With respect to the star movies, we onboard them only if the shooting has been commenced and shooting of 30 to 50% has been completed. We again check the track record of the production house, track record of the cast and crew. We check whether that particular production house, cast and crew have the capability of completing the movie on time. And then we also work with production houses who have a deep pipeline of movies on their roadmap. If the production house have multiple movies in making concurrently, we work with them. So we also check the other rights that are being sold for a particular movie. For in this case, let's take an OTT contract. So for example, if we have an OTT contract in place, we check whether that particular movie has sold their audio rights, overseas rights, satellite rights, so that that movie is ready and complete and ready for the theatrical release. Once this evaluation has been done, we go with the discounting eligibility part, where we fund only 60 to 70% of the contract value and take the remaining 30 to 40% as a cash cushion or cash coverage for the interest period. Even if in case of a delay happening for a month or two, we will be having a sufficient cash coverage in place, which will be covering the interest period on that value. So with respect to the tenure, we onboard movies ranging from 1 to 12 months. Typically, these small and mid-sized movies range between 1 to 6 months. And since the movie has been completed and ready for theatrical release, the tenure will be ranging from 1 to 6 months. And with respect to the star movie, the tenure will be ranging from 6 to 12 months. So now the eligibility has been completed. We do the thorough verification of the documents. We do the thorough audits of the documents, like we check the proof of advance received. We check the transactions between production house and the buyer. Buyer may be an OTT or audio label. We also check the GST records. We also check the assignment contract with the rights buyer. So once this verification part is done, we collect number of security documents from the production house. Number one being the direct collection letter, as Harman would have explained you in the previous slides. Direct collection letter is something that we collect from the buyer. Buyer may be an OTT or audio label, where we collect where we get the collection rates of that particular cash flow from the buyer directly to the escrow account. Apart from direct collection letter, we do collect other documents like posted check, indemnity bond, and personal guarantee signed by the production house. So these are the 5-level evaluation framework we have in place. So if we are listing a movie in our platform, it has to be passed through all this evaluation framework and come to the platform. Next slide, please. So let's quickly check the successful investment highlights on our platform. So we have listed 10 opportunities on the platform so far, opportunities with various tenures and various rights buyers. As you can see the numbers, we have enabled a transaction value of 14.6 crores in the platform so far, where you can see 600 plus unique investors have invested on the platform. So to give a highlight on this, we have started listing the movies from other languages also. We recently opened the investment opportunity for the Telugu movie, and also we have recently launched an investment opportunity for the web series. So we are spreading our wings. So we have started receiving contracts from the Telugu industry also. We are evaluating multiple contracts in the Telugu industry. So we are expecting to spread our wings in the other language also in near future. Next slide, please. Yes, so to coming to the repayments part, so we have done our recently we have done our repayments for a particular opportunity called Run Baby Run, which is a satellite and OTT contracts for a deal value of 1.7 crore. And the repayment has been paid on time with respect to this opportunity. And the repayments for the other opportunities are also happening in the upcoming weeks, which we'll be keeping you posted on. Next slide, please. Yes, I think Harman, if you could take this through the upcoming opportunities.
Thank you, Sedu, for giving a detailed explanation about the securities that we are, or risk mitigants we are keeping in place to make sure investments are safe as possible. So let's look into the next opportunity. So this particular movie opportunity called DASARA, it's a Telugu movie, though it is being, it will be releasing also in other languages as well. So this particular movie deal we have as of now listed on the website, though investments for this is not started. We have only revealed the details of this particular movie. So just to see a small synopsis about this particular movie, the production house, which is SLB Cinemas, they have previously produced more than 5+ films, and they are having many movies in the pipeline, like how Sedu had mentioned while doing the duration for a movie of production house. We also check what is there in their pipeline. So some renowned movies include Ramarao on Duty, Arvalaku Miku, Joalarusi. This is in Telugu, so it's going to be hard for me also to say that. And Virata Parvam. In which ways you will be able to see the slides and recording, so you can also Google the same information. About this particular movie, DASARA, it is directed by Shrikant Odella. The movie star includes Nani, who is one of the leading actors in the Telugu movie industry, and Keerthi Suresh, she's a co-actor. She's from the Tamil industry as well, and also Mr. Samudra Gani and others are there. So if you go to also YouTube or other sources, you will be able to see teasers and official trailers of this particular movie as well. This is a multi-language action drama set in backdrop of Singareni coal mines, and the movie is officially hitting the theaters on 30th of March. So approximately say 15 days from now, because the movie is already complete, it is almost going to be released, and then the payments is going to start coming in. The buyer of this is the OTT rights that we have listed, which is with Netflix. They are the buyers of this particular deal. The tenure of the project is anywhere between 4 to 6 months. So maximum time is going to be 6 months. The minimum is going to be 4 months. At times also the payments could come in earlier. Why the range? I had also spoken about earlier why there is a range with regards to the tenure that is 4 to 6 months or 1 to 3 months. Repayment is going to be happening as multiple repayments. That means it's going to be approximately 3 repayments, principal and interest broken up and distributed to investors. The production house is Sri Lakshmi Venkateshwara Cinemas. The returns on this particular deal is 18% IRR. Minimum investment for each investor would be ₹1 lakh, and then in multiples of ₹1 lakh. So minimum is ₹1 lakh, and there is no cap on the maximum that an investor can participate with. Can we move to the next slide? So this is just a chart of example, you're investing ₹1 lakh. What is the repayment? What is the value that you're looking at if it is paid at 4 months or 6 months for 1, 5 and 10 lakh rupees? There is something called a calculator, investment calculator on the website as well. So if you go and feed in the amount that you like to invest, you will be able to see the breakup of principal, interest, what is the exact value pre-tax and post-tax that you will be able to make. This information is available on the website as well. So investment process, the process is going to be very simple. You log into the website, which is betterinvest.club. You complete your KYC, which is basically the PAN. You enter your mobile number, email ID, and there is something called early access. So you can go and click on early access if you are willing to participate in this particular opportunity. By clicking the early access, you are not committing. There is no financial obligation. You are not reserving any amount while selecting this early access. If at all you're willing to participate, you just show your interest. When the investment opens, only then BetterInvest is going to be collecting funds. So if you are going to be participating at that point of time, you can transfer through UPI or net banking and make payments to participate for the same. This is mostly going to be about the investment process. If you have any questions relating to the same, you can also reach out to your relationship managers who are tagged to your account. If you will be able to see this information on the website as well. Right. So we are going to be going into a question and answer session that will be run. Maybe we'll run that for 10 to 15 minutes if time permits, even more. And even I'm sure there might be a few questions that we might miss during this particular session. If so, we would request you to reach out to your relationship managers. You can directly call them. You can schedule a call with them, or also you can WhatsApp them directly as well. And if any technical issues are there, you can reach out to relationship managers. Also, you can send an email to support, SUPPORT, support@betterinvest.club. So I think we'll go into the question answer session. Sedu, would you like to pick one? I'll pick one and then we'll go into the Q&A. We'll do it like that?
Yes, we can do like that.
Okay, you want to go first?
Yes, let me go first. So there is a question from Mr. Vishal Gupta. So is there any scope of lowering the ticket size? I, being a first-time investor, facing issues in blocking the ticket value of 50K or 1 lakh. So Mr. Vishal, we have recently reduced the ticket size for select opportunities. So usually our minimum ticket size is 1 lakh. And in recent times, the recent opportunities which we listed on the platform we have reduced the ticket size to 50K. In upcoming opportunities also, then select opportunities will be reducing the ticket size to 50,000. So you can, we'll keep you posted on the ticket size. So you can visit the asset details page for each opportunity where you can view the ticket size of the opportunity.
Right. I have Mr. Ankit Agarwal. Shall we get the recording copy of this webinar as well, or can we find it in YouTube? Yes, our team will be sending you the session of the recorded session of this particular webinar. Also, the question and answer mostly asked by investors, we share that as well. Also, the video is going to be available on YouTube at our channel, BetterInvest.
So there is a question from Mr. Ankit Agarwal. So what is the success ratio of this investment? Out of all investment done so far, is there any default as of now? So to answer your question, Mr. Ankit, so there has been no default so far. As I said in the webinar, we have done the repayments on time for a particular opportunity, which is an ultra short tenure opportunity. And the other repayments are also on track with respect to the other opportunities. Thank you.
I have another question, Mr. Parekh. If the movie gets delayed and I want to bail out, then is it possible? So there is no interim liquidity. If that is what the question is referring to, investor has to wait out entirely during the investment period. Normally, up to whatever maximum tenure is mentioned on the website, payment normally comes across that itself. But if at all there is a delay, yes, the interest portion is always covered.
So there is a question from Mr. Chandan Shetty. How much is the tax on investment? So the tax part is like you will be charged a 10% TDS on the capital gain. So whatever gain you get from the investment, you will be charging a 10% TDS on the tax part.
Is there any scope of lowering the ticket size? One being first-time investor, I'm facing issues in blocking 50,000 to 1 lakh. We have also listed the previous deal we listed actually yesterday. That was for a web series called Goli Soda. So the minimum investment ticket size was 50,000 for that, and also previously we had listed another opportunity also with 50,000. Yes, maybe we will also be reviewing into different opportunity sizes and the investment ticket size as well coming in the near future. But for this existing deal, which is for the DASARA movie, the minimum investment stays at ₹1,00,000.
So there's a question from Mr. Aravind. Will wallet be available to deposit the funds in the escrow? So currently we don't have any wallet feature in the platform for the investors to put in their money or deposit their money where they can invest from the wallet. So yes, we do have that feature in the roadmap. We will keep you posted on that. Once the wallet has been introduced, we will be reaching out to you and letting you know this information in first place. Thank you.
So what about defaults into the platform? Is there any collateral with you? So as of now, as Sedu had also mentioned that there has been no defaults till now that for the deals that we have listed, because that is the intensity with the amount of mitigation that we are keeping in place to make sure that something like that doesn't happen. Also, as collateral parts, we are collecting the direct collection letter, the indemnity agreement, which is the legal liability for the production house for the funds that they have to pay to us, also in turn to the investors, also post-dated security checks, and personal guarantees from the producer, co-producers, if there is any for that particular production house.
So this question is from Mr. Ankit Agarwal again. So when I reserve my slot, is there any possibility that I might not able to invest, or everyone on the waiting list get to invest? So the waitlist feature is for getting the early access for the investment. So we typically open the investments at 1 p.m. on the investment day. So the users who are waitlisted or who have been applied for the early access, they will be getting the access an hour prior to the investment open time. So they get to invest earlier than the other investors.
Any way to enable credit card option to invest? I think I'll leave this question to you, Sedu.
Yes.
Credit card options.
Right. So right now we don't have a credit card option to invest. We have a net banking and a UPI from which you can make the payments. In future, maybe we might having the credit card features coming in, and for now we don't have a credit card payment available in the platform to make the payments.
Sedu, thank you for answering that. I know it is your turn, but I'll pick a question because I routed the last question to you. So what is the probability of movies not getting completed or released? What happens then? How often have you seen this in the industry? So there are going to be many movies that is going to maybe go not completed because of whatever scenario, something to do with the production house or with the funds or so. But as BetterInvest, before we list the opportunities, there is going to be a detailed amount of due diligences. We check the credibility of the production house before listing any movie opportunity. Also depends on the cast which is available, which is the part of the entire movie. Could be the producer, could be the actors, could be the directors involved in the entire deal. Sedu, to you.
Yes. So there is a question from Abhi T. I joined late, want to know the risk and if any defaults. So Abhi, to answer your question, we'll be sending this recording of the webinar soon after this webinar gets over. You will get an answer to how we are mitigating the risk, what are the risks involved in this investment, and how we are mitigating the risk. And to answer the second part of the question, there has been no default so far in the investment that have been listed on the BetterInvest.
I believe I had seen a question with relating to agreement copy from one of the investors on the platform. Yes, so you will be signing a discounting agreement, which is actually a tripartite agreement format. This you would be signing, which is between the investor, BetterInvest as the facilitator, and the production house. You will be getting a signed copy of the same document after your successful investment. However, before making the payment, you will be mandatorily signing that particular document to participate in the investment. Sedu, would you like to pick, or I have a question? I'll
Yes,
pick tax?
you can, Herman.
All right. So what about post-tax returns and TDS related to it? Yes, so the TDS portion is going to be 10% on the return value, not on entirely the principal and the interest. It is only going to be on the returns. So for example, you have made 10,000 rupees as gains in the 6 months period, say with 18% interest rate. From this 10,000 rupees, 10%, which is 1,000 rupees, will get deducted as TDS and will also provide you with the TDS certificate, which is the form 16A. This is basically coming under income from other sources, interest income. You will be able to see these details under your form 26AS, Alpha Sugar.
Right. So there is a question from Mr. Vishal Gupta. If supposedly the OTD platform defaults, is the recovery possible from producer, or we have to bear the credit risk? So as I mentioned in the webinar, so if any default, typically there won't be default happening since we will be working only with the zero default history OTDs or buyers. Even in case of default, we will be recouping or we will be recovering the funds from the production house through the other cash flows that they have in place. So all recovery process are in place, all legal process are in place where we have a sufficient process where we can recover the money from the producer.
Thank you, Sedu. I'm just trying to see any other question here. Will my TDS reflect under Form 16? Yes, it will be. Please provide a recording video on email. I think our team has heard that. Kindly just make the arrangements. So who will deposit the TDS, BetterInvest or the production house? So the TDS portion will be deposited through BetterInvest against the investor's PAN. Sedu, would you like to pick anything, or can I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead. I'm just looking into the list of questions. Yes.
So where can we see Better Investment logo name on the movie or OTT release? So this is basically, it is going to be as the agreement is between the production house, Better Invest, and the investors. This is some information which is not going to be available if you see it on while the movie release or in the names. But yeah, that's most important.
Right. So there's a question from Milan Patel, how principal amount and interest is credited back. So we do have two kinds of repayments happening for the investment opportunities. One is a bullet repayment, one is a partial repayment or the part payments from the for the particular investment opportunity from the OTT. So typically when it comes to bullet repayment, the both principal and interest are paid together at the end of the tenure. With respect to the part repayment, we will be paying the principal and interest in the part payments, which are the amortized principal value will be transferred to the investors. So you can check all the details of the repayment in every asset page or investment opportunity page before making the investment.
Right. Sedu, I'll pick up a couple of questions generic to the investment. Right. Is there any plan to launch a mobile app on this of this platform? Yes, very much it is. We will be notifying our investors also. As of now, it is only the website. And how do I know who is my RM on the platform? So once you log into the BetterInvest platform under the profile section, the moment you log in and you'll see on right-hand side corner, you will be able to see the RM relationship manager details. You can schedule a call. Their contact number is also mentioned. You can feel free to contact them directly via a call, or you can also WhatsApp them, depending on your convenience.
Right. So there is a question from Mr. Rishi. Any plans to expand the investment opportunities into Hindi films and web series? So to answer that question, Rishi, we have already listed a opportunity recently, which is a web series again, Goli Soda, which is a Tamil web series. And yes, we are getting leads from various other industries and various other web series on the table. So we are in the evaluation part. We are doing the curation part. And once we do the curation part, we'll be listing the upcoming opportunities in the platform.
Sidhu, I'll pick any plans to expand the investment opportunities into Hindi films or web series? Web series, I think we have already started reaching out to web series. We have already posted the last deal that we had listed yesterday for a Tamil web series called Goli Soda. And as Sidhu had mentioned earlier, yes, we are spreading our wings faster than expected, and we also will be listing Hindi movies and other language movies. Sidhu, can I pick a question?
Yes, you can.
Right. So while listing the opportunities on your platform, please mention the name of the ODT platform. I believe the buyer. So don't see Netflix mentioned for the current opportunity. Right. So in the discounting agreement, once you see the discounting agreement, once it is available, as of now only the sample document is there. Once you see the actual agreement, the counterparty, which is the party who is buying, their name is going to be mentioned. And for this particular opportunity, which is for the DASARA movie, you will be able to see the Netflix name as the counterparty in the agreement itself, which you will also be signing.
So there is a question from Harish Natarajan. What are all your upcoming movies? So with respect to DASARA, we'll be having another asset coming up for the DASARA, which will be the second part of the invoice, which is a different invoice altogether of the DASARA contract. And apart from DASARA, as we mentioned in the platform, the other web series investment opportunity, Goli Soda, will also have another invoice, which will be posted on the platform later in this month. So these two are the upcoming opportunities which we are going to have in the platform soon.
We have a question from Mr. Arvind. Will investors get an opportunity in subscribing equity if BetterInvest raises next round? Sidhu, to you. This question, I think I request you to answer to the same.
Right. So it's a very interesting question. We don't have any feature or any plans to get equities from having plans to make investors subscribe the equity in the upcoming round. Let me check with my CEO also if we can able to provide that facility for the investors to pump in or join the other investors on board. We can do that also.
Right. So we are almost coming to the end of the Q&A session. Sedhi, you would like to pick any last question, or if you like to pick up a couple of questions?
Yes, Harman, I'm just going through the questions.
I'm also just trying to figure out if I've answered or you have answered any of other questions, because I don't want to repeat the question asked earlier.
Right.
I think we have answered to most of the questions on the platform.
Right.
Right. So maybe we can call it end of the session today. Any which ways, if at all there are any questions that is missed either by me or Sedhu, our team will be sending across the details of those questions, also related answers to the same, plus the recording of the webinar which has happened today. And if you have further questions, please feel free to reach out to your relationship managers. You can also write to the support team if there is any technical issue that you are facing. Sedhu, anything that you'd like to say before we close the session today?
Great. So thank you for everyone joining this webinar. As Harman mentioned, you can reach out to your relationship manager. You can also write to the support email ID if you have any further questions. And we do have upcoming opportunities. DASARA coming on the platform this Thursday or Friday will be opening the investment opportunity for the investors to invest in. So do check out the platform for the upcoming updates. Thank you, everyone, again.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely evening ahead. Good night.
Thank you.